according to you, what is a life worth living? Like if you can define, maybe let's say through a parameter or something, if maybe X you have achieved or you feel X, maybe you are living a life worth living. For you, it's a very personalized approach.
If I were to ask you that same question, I want to know.
You want to know?
Yeah.
I think very easy answer for me, it would be, if I can die at this moment without regret, that is a life worth living for me.
Okay, I got my answer. See, I needed a cue.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to decode the question.
Yeah.
I think if after my passing, I've made a significant amount of people cry, that is a life worth living.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've touched more hearts. I've made an impact in a significant way.
Yeah.
And there are more people who cry after my passing or who mourn my death. I think that is a life worth living.
मैंने ये एक पॉडकास्ट में बोला था सोनम दैट बंदे ऐसे बनो कि जिसके मरने के बाद में बंदा जब मरता है ना, भले आपको कोई हेट कर रहा हो, वो गाली देके भी ये बोले कि यार मर गया लेकिन यार बंदा तो अच्छा था.
हाँ वही इम्पैक्ट छोड़ा ना. इम्पैक्ट छोड़ा बिकॉज वही आप अपने लाइफ टाइम में कितने लोगों का दिल छूते हो और कितने लोगों को एम्पावर करते हो, वो कभी भूलेंगे नहीं आपको. एंड यू मे नॉट इवन रियलाइज how you touch somebody's life and you know their heart. You may not realize. मैं बात आपसे कर रही हूँ लेकिन हो सकता है नीतीश जो यहाँ बैठे हैं उनके दिल पे लग जाए और वो बहुत खुश हो जाए और वो खुश हो जाए और फिर वो मेरे को कल दुआ दे. हाँ
ऐसे ही होता है यार. I don't know. I feel very very blessed to be able to talk to you or anybody that I've talked to in this whole 2.5 year from.
Likewise, yeah.
It's a very contrasting life. From almost dying to never imagining me being anywhere close to media or psychology. These are the terms that were alien to me at the start of my life, let alone becoming a public speaker. TED ho, Josh ho. I feel I just own any stage if I have a mic.
That's because you're authentic.
Yeah.
When you're authentic, you don't need prep.
Need to. Yeah. Yes. But I think life also prepares you, even when you say you don't need prep.
Yep.
I could not speak of any volume if I would not have experienced anything.
Absolutely.
And it shows.
Yes.
Because then you have to script.
Yeah.
Even while you're being authentic. But when your life has given you a beautiful script and if you can understand and tap into it, that's when magic happens.
Yeah.
Because there is a cliche line that, hard work always beats talent. It's true.
Yeah.
But I feel when you can work on your talent as hard as a person who's giving his 100% works, I don't think anyone can beat you.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
You're starting with the best thing that you have rather than building something. And I think that is what I'm doing here. I never thought that conversation is a skill that I have or maybe communication is a skill that I have. But when I look back in my life, in my job, I became a consultant or a problem solver. I call myself a survivor, a problem solver. Or maybe somebody who just understands a bit differently or goes to a different layer. That is just what I do. But it is magical for people around me.
Yeah.
Because they can't see the dimension that I'm able to touch as an artist. That's why I sing. That's why I do stand-up. I constantly push myself to an uncomfortable zone because it prepares me and makes me comfortable when I'm not in that zone.
Saying that, Neeraj, communication is also is something that you work and you don't realize it happens very inadvertently.
Yeah.
And within all the experiences that you've gained, like there's this quote, it's really beautiful. I think it sums it up, what I'm trying to say. You only meet people as deeply as you've met yourself. And meeting yourself is the hardest thing to do because you have to face your shadow side. You have to deal with all the demons, all the traumas, everything. And then you also need to understand what are your strengths. What are your, what is it that makes you unique? What is it that makes you beautiful in any shape, way or form? So having to tiptoe between those two worlds within yourself is not an easy thing to do. And most people, you'll be surprised, don't do that. They don't do the inner work that is required.
Yeah. Agreed.
And because they don't do the inner work that is required, you will never understand the other person. You cannot gauge. I can't gauge you if I didn't know what it felt or what it meant to go through a certain challenge in my life, whether it's health, whether it's finance, whether it's relationship. I don't know anything. I wouldn't understand it until I felt it and I analyzed it and I broke it down. So that's the idea. I think communication also happens beautifully when you know yourself really well.
It's a very well put out thought. और पता है, there is a line that stayed with me is that लोगों को ये बात समझ में नहीं आती कि अक्ल बादाम खाने से नहीं ठोकर खाने से आती है.
ठोकर.
है ना? And you know, एक लड़के के लिए specifically, and similarly some cases for women as well, in a very different dimension I'm talking about is men attach themselves too much to the finances because society attaches them too much to the finances.
And that's been the programming forever.
That's been the programming. But जब एक लड़का देखता है ना अपने बटवे में या अपने बैंक अकाउंट में कि यार 500 रुपए बचे हैं सिर्फ, अब उसके ऊपर क्या बीतती है, because everybody relies on him to provide, not asking whether he can provide himself at that point of time. And वो टूटना भी ज़रूरी होता है कभी-कभी. To understand that doesn't define you as a man. Because ultimately what happens is कि हमें इतनी ज़्यादा एक पैरामीटर से अटैचमेंट हो जाती है कि हमें सारा लगता है कि यही मेरा वजूद है. बट नहीं है. You can always earn money back, but you cannot earn yourself back if you're broken. तो ये समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड देयर इज़ अ कोट आई वुड लव टू ऐड हियर इज़ दैट हमने जितनी भी बातें की लाइफ में करने के बारे में, यू टुक सम डिसीजंस वेयर यू ट्राइड मल्टीपल थिंग्स, आई एम ट्राइंग मल्टीपल थिंग्स. समटाइम्स लाइफ दैट यू वांट is behind the decisions you haven't made yet. And that's so true. I wouldn't be here if I would not have quit my job. It was the boldest decision of my life. At the age of 29. Crazy. I am crazy.
Reinventing yourself.
Reinventing myself. And I've...
But isn't that liberating?
It is. That's
the idea.
It was damn scary.
Because the whole narrative in society is like that. No?
Yeah. And said this multiple times that you have to fall to fly.
Yeah, you have to. There is no other way. And
you have to take that leap of faith. So I want to keep this last round a little light. Been very heavy. So,
heavy in a nice way though.
Happy in a nice way though. I hope you enjoyed that part.
I really did, yeah.
So let's go with the rapid fire for you. So,
I'm always scared of this one.
I think it's gonna be fun.
ये बहुत psychology driven होता है.
हाँ, मजा आएगा इसमें. Logic or intuition?
Intuition.
If you could master a completely new skill overnight, what would it be?
Singing.
Interesting. I would love to hear that one. First word that comes to your mind when you hear entrepreneurship?
Hard.
Stage performance or strategizing a marketing strategy, what gives you more butterflies?
Stage.
Obviously I knew this one.
वो तो जो stage पे हो गया था मेरा.
Biggest myth about being multi-talented?
That you can't do one thing the way, like the same thing, the master.
हाँ, मतलब आप अच्छे से नहीं कर सकते दूसरी चीज को.
I think that's a specialist should be doing it. Like you'll do it half-heartedly.
I think what you're trying to tell is कि आप दूसरी चीज को उतने अच्छे से नहीं कर सकते जितने पहले वो कर सकते.
मतलब वो वाली बात है, इतनी सारी नाव में पैर रख के चल रहे हो, you know, like that. तो कहीं ना कहीं गिरोगे. So that myth.
और एक से ज्यादा उसमें भी अगर नाव में पैर है तो बच भी सकते हो.
हाँ, अरे एक जगह सर दूसरा होल्ड कर लिया.
One emotion that you think powers creativity?
One emotion that empowers creativity.
One emotion that powers creativity for you?
Powers creativity? Pain.
Yeah, universal hai. One book that deeply shifted your mindset?
Psycho-cybernetics.
Interesting. Homebody or a wanderer?
Homebody. 100% homebody.
A quote or a mantra you live by today?
कुछ भी कर रहे हो, कोई भी कहीं पे भी हो, जो आपको silently pull कर रहा है, you know, just go with the flow. Whenever that happens,
यहाँ पे आगे pull होते
pull ही हो गए. Something like that. I'm maybe either they're jumbling the words, but yeah, Rumi's amazing.
Rumi is amazing. That's true.
Rumi also said, the wound is where the light enters you. So that wound could be, so all our scars, all our wounds is where the light enters you. Is what is so
it is deep.
It helps you with growth.
Yeah.
It makes you
is
who
deep.
you are.
It is deep.
So I really like his quotes, yeah.
And I love writing too much. And I love writing, especially quotes. If you go to
Yeah?
my threads,
Yeah, I've
you'll
seen.
see gazillions of quotes.
Tell us one from your this thing.
I think the one that I've pinned on the top is, if you're alive, you can figure out the rest.
Good one. That's actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
simple.
Yeah, it's
See, that's the whole idea about life is, and quotes and writing things are like
Yeah.
simple hona chahiye.
सिंपल होना चाहिए. I always was fascinated about कि यार एक किताब में, एक कहानी में, एक पैराग्राफ में तो बोलना आसान है.
हाँ.
What if I could do it in one line?
And it's most difficult.
It's most difficult.
As copywriters, I can tell you, it's never easy to summarize something. It's very easy to emphasize on something.
Exactly. Because उसके लिए आपको clarity चाहिए. You need understanding. तो वो मेरे को ज़्यादा excite कर रहा था.
Articulation चाहिए.
Articulation चाहिए. Exactly. I love this. मतलब I write so much and it feels so good to write them. Because, and I do it. There's a from Nawal, and he said this, that motivation is momentarily. So use it when it lasts.
Yeah, flow.
And I've been a big fan of flow state.
Yeah, same here.
And hence, whenever it happens with me, I have this idea, I want to execute it as soon as possible, because that's when your life changes.
Yeah. And you feel so good after, you don't realize.
Exactly.
So I also do a little bit of writing, Neeraj, not as much as you, but I do a little bit of poetry and stuff, spoken word and stuff. And I know when I get into the entire writing zone, when I come out of it, it feels like, oh, what a weight lifted off my chest. And that feeling is so beautiful. It's so liberating. So liberating.
I just shot a podcast just before this. I was telling you it was on bipolar. And that is one thing that I mentioned as a hack key. Journal.
Yeah.
It's like
journal
emptying.
is mental pooping.
Yeah,
it's very important.
Exactly.
How
This
can
is
you-
exactly what I said.
Yeah.
In terms of कि हम घर का कचरा साफ करते हैं, मन का कर नहीं करते.
तन का करते हो, मन का हर चीज, मतलब ये दिमाग का भी तो करना पड़ेगा.
Exactly.
Journaling is very.
This is the same thing that
Do you journal?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, same here.
I wrote a letter to myself
I
when I
also do
quit.
that.
उसमें से मैंने ये चीज़ें करनी है. And I am so blessed to say this that most of them I achieved. And अब मैं हमेशा अपने आप को वैसे लिख के एक चैलेंज भी देता हूँ. And I talk to my future self in a way.
Yeah.
That this is what I want to do. And then I take it backwards in terms of action.
Correct.
ये अगर करना है तो क्या action लगेगा. And then I be patient with it. And I keep on taking those small actions.
Yeah, same here.
That is what I do. So coming to the last question, if you had to whisper one thing in ears of every young woman out there, what would that be?
Do what you have to do. Don't think twice. Don't kill yourself for anyone. Do what you have to do.
Nice. My sister has this the status as whatever it takes.
Yeah. Do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Simple, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody should be stopping you. Nobody should be disempowering you. Nobody should be standing in your way. You have to do what you have to do. That doesn't mean go kill your husband.
Please be on the moral ground.
Since you're hearing lots of stories about that.
नीरज के पॉडकास्ट से परमिशन मिल गई थी. सोनम ने बोला था जो चाहिए वो कर सकते हो, तहलका मचा देंगे हम.
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं करना है. आजकल बड़ी खराब न्यूज़ सुनने को मिल रही है.
हाँ. थैंक यू सो मच इस क्लिप को एंड तक देखने के लिए. अगर आपको ऐसी ही इंटरेस्टिंग एंड वैल्यू एडिंग क्लिप्स देखनी है, देन ड्रीम विद नीरज क्लिप्स को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए. Until then, keep dreaming. I'll see you in the next one.